This is part 3 of Knitting 101, Stitch Combinations and Knitting Patterns. We'll start off by learning how to read a knitting pattern. Then from there, we'll practice our knit and purl stitches and make some swatches. And then we'll actually get to knit a full scarf. We are going to learn how to read a knitting pattern. And it can seem kind of like a little bit of a different language, and that's why a lot of people get confused. But in reality, it's just a bunch of abbreviations. In your book, you'll see an actual abbreviation chart, and this is a version of it here. So as you can see, CO stands for cast on. K is going to mean knit, P will mean purl, REP means repeat, and then STS means stitches, and then this little star right here is going to mean repeat instructions. This might not make a lot of sense right now, but when we go on to knit our scarf pattern, you'll need to know this, so keep this chart handy. We're now going to be looking at how to actually read a knitting pattern. So this is an example, it's one of my patterns, of what a knitting pattern the front page would look like. You'll see that I've labeled this, so these obviously won't be on a knitting pattern, but it's just to help me teach you guys kind of what things are. Number 1 you'll see up here is the pattern title. So the name of this pattern is the Jacqueline Beanie, and it says it's a Smashly Stitches pattern, and it'll tell you the designer, so it's by Ashley Lakovic. Number 2 will be an opening paragraph. It just tells you a little bit about the pattern and what you kind of need and the sizes, things like that. It's kind of an overview of everything. Number 3 is down here, and it's the supply list. So it's everything that you're going to need for this knitting pattern. And I've broken it up into 3 parts here. So the first part is yarn, tells you how much of the yarn that you'll need and what type. And you'll want to match this as close as possible, but if not, you will see in the book there we talk about at the last part of the book how to substitute this yarn. Then you'll see that there's also needle size. So it says US size 8, 5mm, 16-inch circular needles, or size needed to obtain gauge, and that's what's most important, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the next video. You'll also see you'll need stitch markers and a tapestry or blunt end yarn needle. Down here is gauge, and so this is where you're going to knit your gauge swatch. And it says here that 14 stitches and 20 rows equals 4 inches squared. So you're going to work using this stitch pattern, and it's knitted in the round and block, but you don't really need to worry about that. Just need to know what pattern you're going to be using, and that would be the pattern that is in this right here. Number 5 is sizing, and you'll see that there is 4 different ways that we have our sizing listed in this pattern. This is sized from child to adult, and you'll see that you have your first size here, which is your smallest, and the rest are separated by brackets and commas, and that's how it'll be throughout the whole pattern. So the first one is child, and then we have teen, and then adult small and medium, and then adult large. So down here, this child size would have a head circumference of 18 inches, the teen 20, adult small 21, and then adult large would be 23. Then we have our finished hat circumference, because it's going to be different than your actual head circumference. So this is your head size. This is what your hat would be finished at. And you'll see here it's 16 inches, 18, 19, 21. And then this is the hat length. So it's 9 inches in length or 8 inches in length, depending on which version you're knitting. The last part right here is your yarn symbols. So these are symbols you'll see on yarn packaging that we talked about, and also on knitting patterns. And it says here that we're using a worsted weight medium yarn, number 4, and then this pattern is easy, so it has 2 of the symbols shaded in there, and that just means it's an easy pattern. Most people will be able to do it.